Hi, I'm Justin Smith, and I created ClearMind AI because I was looking through the app stores looking for a solution centered around cognitive behavioral therapy that actually utilized the tools that they teach in the residential drug and alcohol abuse program, which is, while it's framed as a drug and alcohol abuse program, it is actually a cognitive behavioral therapy program, and that the tools they use in the program, things like attitude checks and rational self-analysis, the rational self-analysis is like the center of the entire program. And the idea is that when something happens, that's an activating event, we typically go straight to feeling a certain way about what happened. And then we react or act based on how we feel. And then we experience outcomes based on our actions. But there's a disconnect between what happens and how we feel, act, and the outcomes we experience. And that disconnect is the most important part, which is our cognitions or our thinking. Now, humans are creatures of habit, and what that means is if we do something enough times in a repeatable way, it becomes kind of set in stone, almost programmatically. We just do that naturally without even thinking about it. And until we can actually address those cognitions, dig them up by the root, and actually analyze what we're thinking and how we're thinking, there's zero chance we're going to be able to improve the quality of our cognitions, thereby inherently improving the feelings, actions, and outcomes. So the whole idea or premise of cognitive behavioral therapy is you challenge your thinking and you directly improve the quality of your life. So as with anything, the higher the quality of the input, the greater the quality output. So CBT is centered around the idea that self-ownership and being willing to demonstrate the 8 positive attitudes, starting with honesty, and coming from a place with caring and humility and open-mindedness. By demonstrating the 8 positive attitudes, which are in the program, you are able to question your own thinking, identify patterns and thinking errors, and trend them over time to really understand what those patterns look like, and then challenge your thinking, find alternatives to the thoughts you're having, and directly improve the quality of your life. So I looked through the app stores and I couldn't find anything available that actually gave you these tools. So I decided to build it myself. So without further ado, let's jump in. Right when you log in, once a day, it's gonna do just a quick feeling check. Select up to 3 feelings. So today I'm grateful, I'm confident, and I'm a little excited. Mostly positive feelings today, so that's a good thing. Notice on the dashboard here, you can see the number of RSAs, attitude checks, journal entries. You can also see your top thinking errors and the mood trend. So you'll be able to track your mood and your feelings over time. And the same for thinking errors. So you can see if this is green, then you're going to see your thinking errors are mostly positive. If it's yellow, it's kind of in the middle. If it's red, it's mostly negative. So green is rational, yellow is kind of mixed. That's probably where most people will fall. And red is mostly irrational. Now, what makes a thought irrational? Now, so through this entire program, you'll notice on the left-hand menu, or if you're on mobile, it'll be a bottom bar in the mobile app. Through every single module or tool, we've added a little guide that explains what it is and how it works. So if you click that, this will explain how rational self-analysis works. So you can read through these. It'll explain the common thinking errors. What makes a thought irrational is whether or not it's really rooted in objectivity. And when you analyze your thinking, you'll see a lot of our thoughts have one of these common thinking errors. So when you create an RSA, you can just click to talk and explain what happened. I'll hit allow. My business partner told me he wished I would spend more time on marketing and that I'm wasting time building something that will never help anyone or amount to anything, and that it's stupid. I'm talking about ClearMind. This actually did happen, but you don't know what you don't know. So then we're just going to click analyze. Now what's really cool here is we have AI that's analyzing the activating event. This is what happened. It's going to help us identify some thinking, some of the thoughts that we most likely had going through our head when this happened. Super useful to really identify what are some of the thoughts. Now you can also add your own, and I would highly encourage you to really spend some time on the cognitions page. This is the activating event. I'll click next. Now here's the thought. So it's generated a bunch of thoughts, both rational and irrational, that I likely had. So it's stupid of me to pursue this idea. Yeah, I could have had that thought. So that's awfulizing. What I'm building won't help anyone. It's worthless. So I didn't have this thought. He had this thought. So I'll uncheck that. I also didn't have this thought. He just wants to tear me down and control what I had that thought. So, which probably isn't very objective, right? So I'm blaming and externalizing, and I'm using the he, she, it statement here. So he may feel a certain way about me spending time outside of the business, which is understandable. The more time I put into our main business is the more the business grows. So I'll never succeed with this project. It's going to fail an amount. I didn't think that. I think it won't fail. I think it's a very good idea. And even if it doesn't succeed financially, I'm happy I created it. I think it's going to add. I mean, at the very minimum, when I get into accountability partners, I'll show you why this is such a great tool for relationships, both professional and personal, and even friendships, even romantic relationships. It's a great alternative to arguing. So we'll talk about that here soon. I'm going to skip some of this. So this is, I had these thoughts for sure. His feedback was harsh. I'm just going to skip through this. Now, I would encourage you to add your own. When you add your own, it's going to analyze it and determine whether or not it was rational. Then you're going to say how you feel. So FAO, feelings, actions, and outcomes. And here I felt stressed. I felt frustrated. I was a little sad, and I was a little angry, probably anxious. I was a lot of these things. Maybe even a little embarrassed. Mostly negative though, right? So, and then you can also edit this, and I would encourage you to. This is just a good starting point. So the AI is going to recommend what it thinks is most probable, just to save you time when creating these. But read them and edit them if it's not true. Be truthful here. Honesty is the foundation of change. I probably felt defensive and instantly wanted to justify what I've been working on. I might have gotten quiet or started, yeah, I did that. Had a tense conversation where I felt misunderstood. So I shut down and didn't address his concerns. We got into an argument. The tensions, yep. So I'll remove the word likely because it did happen. I'll click next. Now here's the rational reframe. So all the irrational thinking that I had on the left, I would now challenge on the right. And if I added my own thoughts to this, then I would have to challenge these as well. And we can of course edit these. But the idea is, if I had thought this way instead of this way, I should probably feel a different way. So I wouldn't have felt anxious. So instead of thinking I can't do anything right, I should just give up. I didn't think that, so I should have unchecked that, but just for the sake of time. I haven't yet tested whether this helps people. See, that's a positive that's a positive outlook. If he thinks it's pointless, then it actually is. I didn't think that either. He just wants to tear me down. Now, I did think that. He just wants to tear me down and control what I do. Yeah, that's probably a thought that I had. So instead of thinking that, if I had thought, I don't know what the future holds. Many successful projects were criticized early on. I can evaluate my progress and adjust as needed rather than assuming complete failure. Yeah, I agree with that. So I might still feel like a little bit stressed or frustrated, but I'm probably also going to still feel hopeful and determined and proud and grateful, maybe calm. Take a breath before responding. So then what would your new actions be if you felt this way? So the idea is, something happens, we think something about what happened, then we feel something about how we based on our thoughts, and then we take action based on how we feel, and then we experience an outcome based on the actions we take. And it follows that specific sequence. We kind of disassociate from that sequence, and we don't realize more common than not, we're just like, you make me feel this way. But the reality is, no one makes you feel any type of way. You feel the way you feel because of how you think about what happened, not because of what happened. So you have to take ownership of that. Regardless, you can't control other people. You can't control what people say, what they do, but you can control what you think about it. So next time, so now you make a commitment statement. I will be more objective and consider the impact I am having by spending time outside of our primary business, understanding that my partner may be coming from a place of caring and consideration. Doesn't necessarily mean he was attacking me, right? Just because I took it as an attack doesn't make it one. So I'm just going to hit save. Now this is going to save this, and it's going to also save my thinking errors. So they're all stored in the database, and they can be trended. I can track the trends over time. That's the whole purpose of this. I can see my commitment statement here. Now notice my partner. So if your partner shares their RSAs with you, then you can actually read their responses as well. Now you can choose when you connect. So we'll just go straight to partners now. So I'm connected with a good friend of mine, Joe and Michelle, and you can send your partners kudos. You can tell them what they're doing good, and they'll get notified. Positivity, positive reinforcement, positive praise is a great thing. You can also pull them up. So like if they're struggling, this is a great alternative. Michelle pulled me up here. She said, Justin asked Henry if he wanted daddy in the bath. Henry said no. I asked Justin to come in anyway, and I could prep everything for bed. He snapped at me, raised his voice, and said, no, I'll do it, and get everything ready in a nasty tone. We get done with bath, and he's nowhere to be found. It's really important when you're pulling someone up not to weaponize it and not to stretch the truth. Like, be honest. Honesty is the foundation of change. But there's going to be times when you get held accountable for something that you don't agree with. Like in this case, I may not agree with like that I raised my tone. I may have been a little short, but like I certainly didn't yell. But from her perspective, my tone was inappropriate. So I need to be objective here and realize that maybe had I like mirrored myself, maybe there is something to own here. So I went through and I did the RSA, and I had some rational thoughts, and I had a couple irrational thoughts here as well. So there was 3 thinking errors detected. Now, what's really cool is, say you get held accountable for something you don't agree with, you can start a process group, and an AI will mediate and makes you take turns, and it'll actually guide you through to help center you on the process of why the pull-up existed, and give you feedback and mirror you, which really helps you process with your partner. And it's just a great alternative to just getting into a fully blown argument. I mean, this is something constructive. We can grow and come out of this a better person if we approach it from an angle of caring and responsibility and willingness and open-mindedness and gratitude. All of the 8 positive attitudes, and that's where attitude checks come in. So. You can basically ask a partner to do an attitude check. I can say that a partner was struggling with objectivity, and I can explain why and send the request, and she would have to complete the attitude check, explaining the situation. It could also turn into an RSA. This explains how attitude checks work. Again, every single module, including like the journaling, has this as well to explain how it works. The journal is cool. You can talk to it, or you can just type, and it'll track your feelings. It'll extract the feelings that you had throughout your journal entry. So you can connect with an unlimited amount of accountability partners, and you can choose what you share with each in the settings. So like if you want certain partners to be able to see RSAs and certain partners not to, you can choose that here. Same for attitude checks and journal entries. You choose what you show. You can also choose the types of notifications you get. Now we do have a paid version, a pro version. Because AI costs money to run on the back end. That's just the reality. We serve minimal ads on the free version, and it's kind of limited. Like the AI growth coach, you can't like The AI growth coach, you can chat with it about anything in your account. It has access to your full account history. It knows your thinking errors. It knows your attitudes. It knows your current mood. It knows your journal entries. It knows everything. So it knows you. And the more you use this, is the more it knows you. So you can talk to this like you would talk to your counselor, for example, and get pretty good guidance and unbiased feedback. If you just need something to mirror you real quick in a private conversation with your AI growth coach, this is a great way to do it. So I can decide, like, how am I doing with my thinking patterns lately? And wait on the response. It's going to analyze all of my thinking patterns, and it's going to tell me, how I'm doing. You can talk to it about anything, though. So it's not limited to just the data inside of your account. And let's see here. We'll wait for a response. And we can see here it responded with a good overview or summary of my current thinking patterns. And I could chat with it to process this. It's just a way to kind of analyze the data in your account. So that's the purpose and the benefit of using ClearMind. I know this was kind of a long video, but hopefully you understand how the platform works. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, support@rationalselfanalysis.com. And I really hope you are able to get some benefit out of this. I would love to hear your feedback if you're using it. So be sure to send us an email and let us know what you think. Thanks.